Greetings, everybody. We are back. Yes, we are. I swear it's raining meatballs. Well, it's raining smartwatches. Something's going on because all of a sudden we got a bunch of watches in. Makibes! All right. Arrive. Look at this. We have a GPS tracking outdoor sports G02. Wow. Upside down, but that's okay. Outdoor sports professional smartwatch thing. Designed for outdoor sport with all sorts of languages in here. And what is it? Let's take a look. Wow, it's got a little television set built in. No, it's just a compartment to hold the obligatory charging stuff. It's a dock. Oh, I thought we stopped seeing the docks a long time ago, but I guess on the little fitness kind of watches, they're still around. This is our USB charging cable, yeah, and it plugs in there, and this goes into this. Okay, got its own little cushion. Let's take the band open. Ooh, nice. There's the big module right there. That's the GPS unit inside. There's the heart rate, the charging for the dock. Whoa! Wow! That is one magnetic coupled thing there. Wow, it really is. Don't put your credit card next to this one. That's definitely a strong charging dock. We've got what looks like an on-off button here and some pseudo buttons on here that don't actually work. I guess. Maybe they do. Yeah. You got to really push them, though. Okay, we'll be turning this on in a little bit and checking it out. So I've got a light and an on-off button, a start, stop, and a back up, and an up and a down. Looks familiar to some watches we've already reviewed, and yeah, let me get the information on this one for you while I charge it up. You're looking at the real deal here, folks. This is the Makibes Official G02 GPS smartwatch with built-in GPS from the Makibes Official Store. And if you check the show notes down below, you'll find a buying link directly to this page and hopefully a coupon price for you as well. Always check there first, as that helps us get these watches in from great folks like Makibes directly. What's inside of this thing? All of this. It's a watch. It's not really a fitness band per se, which is nice because the display gives us the capability to see a lot of information, whereas a lot of the tiny bands, the fitness bands, they don't have as much display space. But here you can have a really big display at the top and a couple of other little displays going on to show you things like elapsed time, the number of steps and distance travel, or heart rate, those kind of things. And highlights are a built-in GPS tracker, a dynamic heart rate monitor, then multi-sport tracking, and it's true. You've got runs and rides and climbs and walks, everything but swimming. By the way, it's an IP66, which means you don't want to get it wet. You don't want to take it swimming or in the shower, but you can get some splashes on it. Okay, so we've got a little cover to pull off, revealing the nice glass surface. Oh, plastic, the nice plastic surface. And we got more stuff in the box. Let's pull it out. There's a great big manual in here. Here we go. Folds out multiple sheets. Where's page 1? That looks like the back side. Well, let's start here, I guess. The packing list. Wow, this is a big manual. I can barely get it on the screen. Okay, I like to do this for you, show you the manual that you can freeze frame and read about it. That helps oftentimes before you actually get the unit. It's got a sport mode, all the different modes it can go to. The history for viewing. There's your walking, heart rate capability, and the satellite connection. So it does have built-in GPS. The installed apps. Now, oftentimes, as you know, the app is a big and important feature of the technology that works with the device. So this is the app APK QR code that you use to download, and we will talk about that in a bit as well. Some common problems. Did you get all that? I guess you did. Okay. And warranty service. All right, so that's the manual. Now, let's see what this will do. Okay. Time to get into the watch. I actually reviewed this watch, something very similar to it, earlier this year. And the only difference between that watch and this one was the bezel. Here, we have a metal bezel with edges to it. And in the other review, it was smooth. So, and that was an extensive review. So what I'm going to do to help you guys out is copy that piece of the review and put it in here right now on the identical watch to this Makibes G02. Okay, I've been with this watch for about a week now, maybe even longer, checking it out, the heart rate monitor, and all of the different modes on it. And I'll tell you right up front, I like it, and there's some things about it I really don't like too. But it is a working watch that'll do probably what you're looking for in a fitness watch. First of all, what I don't like is how confusing it is to operate. I mean, you have two buttons here and 3 buttons here, and it took a while to get used to this. These two on the left are just up and down, back and forth. Well, not back and forth, up and down on the menu items. These two are your most important ones for navigation, and this middle one just turns on the backlight. I mean, it says on the screen, up and down, start, stop, and back, and lap. However, there's a lot more to it than that. So let's walk through it on the watch first, and then we'll talk about the associated app, which is where things get interesting and disappointing. First of all, at the top, this is where you press it to go into the modes to start recording. You have a few different modes. You have walking, and now we have to hit the down arrow. Then you have running with GPS. You have hiking with GPS, which will give you altitude. And you have biking with GPS. And that's it. Then it loops around again. The walking doesn't include GPS. It's just going to count your steps. Now, if I hit this again, it goes into the mode to prepare for actually starting. If when I hit it one more time, it would start timing your walk and showing your heart rate and counting your steps. That's what shows on the screen. If you hit either of these buttons, you can toggle through other things like number of steps, calories burned, the miles you've gone. You see the little symbol there is for your distance. And then your laps. If you set a lap course, it'll count your laps. And then the time. So if you want just your elapsed time and your time on the display, you've got that. Okay. If I hit the back button, I'm back here. That took a long time to figure out, folks. Memorize this if you get this watch. Now I hit the down button, I can go into the running one, go into this mode, and you can see it's, by the way, this is not total steps. This is steps per minute, I think. It's going to be a number that you're going to try to keep up if you're trying to hit a threshold. Again, we push this, you recognize the symbols. This is different. You see that little speedometer sign? This is the running mode with GPS on. It'll tell you your, well, I'm not sure, kilometers per minute, miles per hour. You have to figure that out. And then this is an elapsed time in distance thing. So you'll get maybe how many miles or feet or meters you go per unit of time. You got to play with that to figure out what those are, and I don't see where you can set them easily. There is an English metric change that you can do in the app. How that translates to the watch, I just haven't messed with that enough to figure it out. But you can calculate out what you need there. Here you get your distance and laps. if you have the lap mode on, and the time. And we're back again, okay? Now again, if I hit that again, it would start. I'm not going to do that. That says it's trying to acquire GPS. I'm indoors right now, so it's having a hard time locking. When it goes solid, it's locked. We're going to go down to hiking. In the hiking mode, when you go here, as usual, your first screen is your heartbeat and your number of steps per unit time. Then you go into this, and that shows you your altitude above the baseline. And it's saying I'm 53.39 feet, meters, above some reference point. I presume when you started, it's going to reset that, and then as you climb or descend, it'll go positive or negative. And this is kPa. Whatever that is, kilograms per PA. Yeah, more to learn about this. You switch this one, you've got your number of steps and calories, your distance, and there's a flag with numbers on it. I think this is because you're not going to be doing laps if you're hiking. It's what your goal is to cover in terms of distance or steps or some unit that you set in another mode. And then your time. So those are the elements that you have sequentially displayable on here for all of these things. Now, look how small this watch is. When you have it on, I mean, if you're hiking or something like that, perhaps you can bring it up to your face really close and see everything. These are as small as the digits that I would like to see. But when you go into these other modes and you're looking at your heart rate, for example, it's starting to get kind of small. I would like it if the watch allowed you to toggle through really large digits of the information you want to present on a regular basis. If you're striving for a target heart rate, for example, I'd like to see the heart rate, the whole screen, bigger than any of these digits are here, especially with this reflective screen that sometimes in dim light you can't see. But you don't have that option. You have what you see here, and that's what you got to go by. The last mode is bicycling. And here's what you get on that. You get your speed, and I have checked this when the GPS is calibrated as a passenger in a car. It's in kilometers per hour, and it matches really, really well with the speedometer on the car. That's your kilometers per hour per unit measurement loop thing. Yeah, that's that repetitive thing that if you're trying to stay in a zone, that's what you use. This is your fluctuating current one. Then again, you get your calories burned and your distance kind of reversed. You don't have steps because, right, there's no steps when you're bicycling. And your heart rate and this checkered flag thing instead of that other kind of flag. None of these symbols are adequately explained, so you kind of figure it out. If you're a bicyclist, perhaps you already know. If you're a hiker, maybe you know. Otherwise, it's a little bit elusive to try to understand this watch fully. There's your time thing again. And then it loops all the way through. So those are the modes that you have to work with. There, that's the kind of digits I'd like to see heart rate in, for example. Or feet climbed, meters climbed or descended. But I can't get there. You just have the little ones. So that happened when we hit the top button. You still with me? Let's take a breath. Now, if you hit the bottom one, you go into the settings mode. And again, you can go up and down with these buttons, and you go into the settings here. So if I clap in here, oh, well, wait a minute. We're getting to settings later. Sorry, this is your results for your walking. Okay, each of these are the things that we did before. This is your steps. And that's going to be your walking. Let's run through them. Your running, your hiking, your bicycling. This is where you set your laps if you're going to be doing things in laps. This is your sedentary reminder. This is your sleep mode start-stop thing. This is your heart rate, which is a really cool feature. This is something on this that I think you really would want to go for, is what you're about to see in here. And then this is your overall settings for the watch to set everything up. So let's go back, take a quick look at results that we have for some of the things that I've done. Now this is for today, I presume. I haven't worn it much today. I have 16 steps. That's the calories. and I can't go up or down. It's a one-page pony. If I hit the back, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I can. These are the other days. All right. I'm with it now. You see? All right. So we're in the steps. That's the latest one. If you go up, that's yesterday. Then that's the day before. And that's the day before. So here's the good and the bad. The good is you've got all this data for 7 days worth. The bad, you can't really transfer it out. The app that you link to is really lame in my estimation. It's kind of one of those tethering watch type apps that doesn't really give you much but just notification that your phone is ringing. You know, it doesn't tell you who. It doesn't let you answer the call on your watch. It's a lame tethering app. This is kind of the same thing in terms of the fitness. All the data is on the watch. If it had a decent app, you could transfer all this data. As long as you did it in a 7-day window, it could keep track of all of that, accumulate it in a database, and you could export that to fitness, real fitness apps that you could use. As it is now, you would probably have to write all this stuff down. 4604 steps. The calories I'd ignore because that's calculated based on your steps, your stride, your height, your weight, your sex. All of that stuff goes into calculating that. That you could do elsewhere. What you need is the steps, and then this is the total distance traveled. Now, I didn't go 27.6 kilometers in 4604 steps. That would be really long steps. A lot of this is accumulated while driving in the car, just because I was on my arm, and it was in that mode. I tested these different modes that way. So you have all of these that you go back to the 7-day beginning, and then it's done. So I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's today. That's your overall accumulation of information related to the steps. Here is where you could set a goal. The goal's 10,000, right? They say do 10,000 steps a day and you'll be healthy. Well, if I hit that goal, I imagine it's going to, send skyrockets in the air and vibrate my arm with a fun little tickle or something, but I haven't hit that yet, so I got to walk a lot more. But you can adjust this to whatever goal you want. Say start out with 6,000 and work up. Good idea. And this is where you do it. The back button gets you out of that. Back button gets you back again. We go down here, and now you can see some of the results of the walking. When I actually put it in walking, and you know these symbols now, that's the distance, that's the number of steps, that's the lap times, which I hadn't set, so you're not going to see any laps, calories burned, elapsed time, and down at the bottom in really tiny digits is the date and time that this thing happened. And you press that button and you see some previous entries on previous days. Okay, back. Again, you can set a goal here of 5,000 steps. So if you're just going to go for a brisk walk, one brisk walk, and you want to set that limit, let's say you do 2 brisk walks a day for 5,000 steps each, you got your 10,000 minimum, boom, you're done. That's where you can set that stuff. Let's back out of this, and let's run through the others quickly now. We go down to running, look at the results, and here you go. You can't see anything more than the limited data that it's put on the screen. So that's what you've got. I did 35 minutes and went 0.03 of a mile. I mean, this was just walking around the house, I think. Let's see if I got any more data up here. No, I don't have any more data on this one because I really didn't use this one. So let's go back. And you can set a goal on that if you want to. The hiking is interesting. Let's go down to this one and go in and look at results. There's my distance, supposed calories burned, number of steps. There's a flag with zeros on it, but there's nothing that shows me the altitude I went up and down cumulatively over that period, which would be really nice to know. Let's say you want to rise up 1,000 meters. It's in here, but it's not being displayed here. So limitations on display of data and even less data translates over to the associated app, unfortunately. Here's a couple of more entries, different dates and times, just to show you. I needed to accumulate this so I can show you in the app kind of what it looks like. Again, you can set a goal here of 1,000 steps hiking, okay, since this is in that hiking mode. And of course, you can adjust that as you need as well. And then I believe the last one is biking. And these are the kind of results that you get there with a big checkered flag down here. Again, that hasn't been set, so I haven't accumulated anything. And it's basically your distance and calories burned. And just some entries. All right, so what does all this mean? Let's back out, and then you can set a goal there. It means that we still have a few more things to go. This is where, if we go in here, you can set the lap thing in meters and turn it on so that it will count laps every 400 meters, if you want. And back. And you can also set a 1 lap thing to be auto or manually entered, I guess. Looks like a button and you're touching something. I've just left it in auto so far. That's available to you. Then, like we said, we've got the sedentary reminder for standing up, and you can choose to turn it on and how many minutes you want to be reminded and so forth. Now you're getting kind of an intuitive feel how this works. Same thing for this whole sleep thing. Here's, I guess it just shows you your sleep results of how well or how long or something. I don't know. I got 92 of those. 5, yeah. See, there's entry data. What that means is that 80 minutes of deep sleep, 565 minutes, 0 because it wasn't active. Not sure what all the data means, but there they are, and it shows you the date that it happened on. I'm guessing that's minutes of deep sleep, but I don't know. Let's return out of here and go into the heart rate. Now, wake up, everybody. Okay, I'm going to change my tempo and get a little bit lively because I want your attention on this one. If we go in here and we go in here, we are able to turn on or off the heart rate sensor, which is going to be active all the time. Believe me, it doesn't drain the battery that much either. It seems that every 5 to 10 minutes it comes on and takes a reading. So we have it on. Now, if I go down here and I come in here and I have this on, I can set my, my range of alarms for lowest and highest heart rate. Now that's really cool. If you're doing a workout and you want to stay within a specific zone of a threshold of lower to higher, you don't want to go above a peak and you don't want to go below a minimum to burn calories for fat reduction or for all the different things that you might use it for, you have that ability now to change what it is you want as your high and low heart rate. Okay, you can activate, just don't fall below 130, let's say. If I turned that on, you could do that. And, that's the upper, I guess. That's the upper. And then this is your lower. Don't go below 55. Or let's change that to 65. Well, it's going to go off all the time, you know, if I do that, if you're sedentary. But if you're exercising and you wanted to say at 110, right? So it's going to beep anytime you're, whoa, it only went to 80, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. Oh, no. Well, maybe it's not that great. 80 seems to be the highest low rate you can go. I was hoping you could have a zone set for 115 to 130 and keep yourself in that zone. It looks like it's going to notify you if you fall below 80, and that's the highest low that you could go. Well, All right, we're learning as we go. I had those set pretty much just to test it in a sedentary environment, so I didn't raise this lower one. What happens if we turn it on and we go down to the next one? Let's see how this one goes. 40, 50, 60, and 90. Okay, so 80 is the high of the low, and 90 is the low of the high, and then it goes up from there to 100 and, what did it say, 50? 60? 160 before it starts over again. So it's got predefined zones which aren't fully functional in terms of true athletics, and it's every 10 heartbeats. It's not, well, the lower one's every 5, the upper one's every 10. Good luck. I mean, it's something you can use. If it works for you, great. If not, well, okay. But this is one of the things I've been looking for in fitness watches, is the ability to bracket your heart rate. Okay, we're out of there. And then the last thing is the overall settings for the watch. This is your GPS information if it's working. Here you can set alarms. That's your date set, your time set, your contrast set, because this is a reflective screen depending on the polarization of the light outside. And then this is where you enter your personal information, which you also can enter from the app. I love the, where is it? Come back here. That's, I presume, male, and that, I guess, is female. They're kind of taking liberties with the symbols. But you put in your age and your centimeters in height, your kilograms in weight, and that's it. You don't have a place to put your stride for your steps, so calculating distance based on that would be erroneous. But this has GPS. And speaking of GPS, if it's got all that built into it, and there's the little module right there, it's a nice GPS apparently in here, but it's not giving you regular data points of your location over time that you could export as a track and show on Google Maps. Why not? That'd be great. I think the data's in here. I don't know if it's stored in a way that, you know, it could be transferred out, but the app certainly does not accommodate that, which is a real disappointment on such a nice watch. Okay, we've taken a look at the watch. Let's bring up the phone and take a look at the apps. The app that it's suggested to link to is called H+ Watch. And I've tried that one, and there's actually 4 in there that this company works with or produces. And H+, H+ TW, and then this other one, H+ Fitness. It asks for, and it works with this one, and it will kind of work with this one as well. So I just wanted to show you, when we launch it, here's today's data, Bluetooth connected. When I go into settings, it shows you you're bonded. And this is the dashboard that you get. You get, so far, your cumulative distance, total steps, and calories, and you get your minimum, maximum, and average heart rate for the day. It's not something you turn on and off. You can expand this out. You can look at the data. The line is your heartbeat, and the bumps are your steps. So that's kind of nice information on the dashboard. If you go to yesterday data, well, you don't get much. You get this screen, and it gives you that to read, which I'll leave on for a second or two so you can read it. But I don't get really yesterday's data. It's just giving you good information about the frequency of stuff. And I get this, and it says 14.5% light and 85% deep as far as sleep. Whether that's accurate or not, I'm not sure. Whether it actually changes from day to day, I'm not sure. And I'll tell you one thing, it's a secret though. I didn't wear the watch last night. I don't know where it got this from. I'm guessing this is just an example, and it's supposed to give you that on a regular basis. That one twirls, look at that. Whee! The other one didn't. That's what I get. Oh, there it goes. That's what I get when I go into the last data report, and it's really limited compared with this. Oh, and notice this: when you move, you can get the actual number of steps in that time increment by tapping on top of it. That's kind of nice. Your real-time heart rate is shown here, and notice it says a minimum and a maximum heart rate, and it presumes these based on what you put in your user info for your age, gender, height, weight, blah, blah, blah. It says what your best heart rate should be. If you change that from 30 years to 60 years, for example, you notice that that changes significantly down here. So that's calculated based on that, and that is apparently the lines that are shown up here, and then this is your actual heart rate information. That's kind of nice. And it would be really, really nice if you have a good aggressive exercise routine and you stop it at a certain point and you look at how long it takes, the recovery rate, how long does it take for your heart rate to fall from its peak to, what is it, 80% of your normal resting rate? There's a formula that's supposed to show how fit you are by your recovery rate. And that could be feasible here. So it's showing that my real-time heart rate was all of this. And if I flip that over, you'll notice every now and then the green light will come on. And that's what you get on this screen. So you got your overall dashboard. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. It only is showing data where data was taken. So if I've taken the watch off, nothing's happening right now. You've got your real-time heart rate. You got your user info we just looked at, and then you've got settings. And settings is where sync is always on auto sync. I can't change that. You can set an alarm clock on here. You have your sit notification start and stop times that you can set. Notice we set the interval on here. Time mode switch from 12 to 24 hours. Here's where you can go imperial versus metric. However, everything seems to be done in kilometers and such. It's not switching as far as I can tell to all the calculations being in miles. You can get reminders of incoming calls and messages and all these different social networks. It's just going to simply give you a vibration and a flash on the screen that something has happened, though. It's not going to give you any information about it. And you can turn on the all-day heart rate, which is what I typically have on, and it's constantly coming up and taking your heart rate. There's a screensaver timer, which I believe is when you press the button to bring up the backlight, which you can't really see, but the backlight's on, how long the backlight is on before it goes off. 5 seconds is fine for me. You can erase all your user data and look at the device firmware update if necessary. I'm at that version, and that's about it. Oh, that's the version. Okay, it's doing the firmware at the same time, I guess, telling me it's up to date with the same firmware. That's this app. Oh, and up here, when you check on that, it's kind of weird. It kind of makes a copy of that page, and you can draw on it, and then you can save it. So they're kind of giving you a quasi way to save your data. It's sort of like taking screenshots with your watch or with your phone. And if you save it, and then I guess you can send it, you can do whatever. See, it's been captured to the SD card in that particular folder. Or you could just share it straight out to any of these sharing places, all of which seem to be Chinese, but you can copy a link to it. Anyway, there you go. So there's a little bit of capability to archive your data, but not really in data format. That's this app, H+ Watch. The H+ Fitness looks kind of similar in that it's got a dashboard with your steps, your heart rate, and your sleep information. It's got exercise for steps, and it's showing some data here. It's a mix of English and Chinese, mostly Chinese. See, exercise run, but the headings are Chinese. And bicycling and climbing. And this one has swimming, of which the watch does not support, because this is not meant to go swimming in, and there's no swimming option on here. So this app is really for something else, not for this watch. But when you look at these fitness apps, this is where it's getting interesting. Just like in the phones, If you're getting a phone and a watch, a smartwatch, and you want it to tether to your existing phone, you need to use an app. It's a tethering app. And the watch and the app talk together to do what they need to do. Now, if you want to answer and place phone calls from your watch using the SIM card in your phone, you need a tethering app like Funduware. If, however, that's not important to you, or you buy a watch that doesn't support it, like the Android kind watches, they use a tethering app called Cinware. And that app doesn't do that at all. It might push over to your watch that you're getting a call from so-and-so if it interfaces with your contact book, but you can't answer it, you can't discard it, you can't do anything with it, you're just notified. Same thing for the fitness apps now. There are several different watches that use the H+ Watch app. If you're looking at one of them, you know what that app can do. We just went through it in detail. Whether or not it's a super sophisticated watch like this that captures GPS information, or a little tethering band that doesn't even have displays but dots, if it interfaces with the H+ Watch app, that's all the data you're going to get, folks. You're not going to get more. So keep that in mind as you look at these fitness watches reviewed here on this channel and in the stores when you're shopping. What is the associated app it talks to? Because that's the bottom line that's going to tell you what kind of data you're going to have to use later. What you see on the screen or on the dots or whatever is what you can use real time. And like I said, having bracketed heart rate is great if you want to use that real time to stay in your target zone for exercising. Good idea. Having GPS to show you your speed versus your numbers of steps over terrain is a good idea. It's going to be a little more expensive, but it may be worth it in the end, depending on what your training is like. This is a very good watch. I'm very impressed with it. It's a keeper. It could do more. I think there's more in here than there is in the app, and perhaps firmware upgrades or a different interface app. Hey, and if you guys find an app that works with this watch, let me know in the show notes and the comments. Let us all know, because I'd really love to test it out. I'll do an update video if we can find a better app that pulls out that GPS data. Well, for now, from what I can tell, we still use the same apps for the same connectivity to get the same kind of data in this Makibes G02 watch as we did with the other one. So, once again, to let you know that this watch is available directly from the Makibes online official store. We have a link in the show notes down below the video, and you can click over there, pick this thing up. If we have a coupon price to lower it even more than you see here, we will definitely include that. And we appreciate your subscription to our channel and your purchasing of the watches that you like from the links that we offer you. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.